VeeFam, we are back with another very special episode of the VeeFam sessions. I am privileged to be joined by our community success lead, Nick Corso. Corso, what's up? How are you,
How's it
buddy?
going? Good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. Really excited to jump in with you, of all people, with all of the amazing contacts you have in both worlds, the VeeFriends team and the community. So, real quick for the one person, I always like to say, for my mother who may not know who you are, everyone else knows who you, Corso, but the quick 55-second background on who you are pre VeeFriends, pre NFTs, just a real quick context.
Pre NFTs, pre VeeFriends, I was a college student, just trying to get my degree. But before VeeFriends, I was in my sophomore year or my freshman year, and I finished my sophomore year the next year. But I was also just a gamer. I played a lot of games. Pre-COVID, I did door-to-door sales. I didn't actually sell things, but I set up appointments to sell things. So that was like my job before then. So pretty much I did that, played games, went to school. That's me in 25 seconds.
Was it like a selling solar, that kind of deal? Setting up appointments for that?
So I was setting up appointments for people to get price estimates on windows and doors. So, I mean, it was to sell, but like I didn't do any of the selling or even mention of selling because that just scares people away when you talk about buying or selling things. So.
Sure. Interesting. That's always tough. That's a nerve-wracking thing, just going up to people's door.
So funny enough, like I would say I'm still a little shy, but I'm a lot better than I was. I was a very shy person before I started that job, and I was like, this job pays pretty decent. It was like 12 an hour, but it's still like, nonetheless, like I was just like, like I got to get a job.
Sure.
And Coles said no to me, so this job, I'm going to have to do it. And so I, got out of my comfort zone. I was knocking on random people's doors who I've never met and who I'll probably never see again, which was the part that kind of convinced me is like, I'll probably not see these people again, maybe in a store. But like, so that's where I kind of got out of my comfort zone and I was able to do that because it's a very interesting job to have, a very weird job because especially if you're shy because you're literally talking to random people trying to you're knocking on their door. You're invading their privacy.
Of course, it's nerve-wracking. Any kind of situation where you're approaching someone's door and they're not expected. But I'm sure that helped build your armor. So let's go back to the beginning. What's the first time you remember hearing the name Gary V?
Honestly, couldn't tell you. I think I ran across him once on Instagram. Maybe even a YouTube video, and I followed him on Instagram, and I never really never ever binge watched him, I'd say. But I followed him, and whenever I saw a post, I'd watch it. And yeah, so that's like the first time I heard of him was probably I think it was just through like a Instagram post that I saw like pop up on my feed.
And what about the word VeeFriends?
VeeFriends, so quick, funny backstory. When I became a VeeFriends mod, I had no idea what it was for, but I saw Gary post on his Instagram story, and the cool part was like I never really checked Instagram stories, so it was like a newer thing to me checking Instagram stories, and I just happened to be checking Gary's, and I saw Discord, and since I play games all the time, I was like, okay, I'm on Discord already. I'm gonna join his Discord. Cool. I had no idea what it was for. When I became a mod, I knew it was for an NFT project, but I knew nothing about it. I don't think anybody really knew the name VeeFriends until it was officially announced when they changed the Discord, because I think it was just Gary V NFT server. I don't even know what it was called. I think it was ? Gary V. I don't know, something like that. And so I heard about it once like the Discord was like changed to that.
So you, from what I understand, you were familiar with Discord through gaming and things. So you were seasoned Discord mod, or you were just a kind of a user?
More of just a user, but
okay.
Like I ran my own server for friends to play games with, and so I knew how to manage servers and stuff. But I never really officially like moderated a server per se. It was just more of like I managed my own server with friends. So it wasn't anything crazy, but it was more than the average person.
And we're talking about Corso's Crib. Is that what we're talking about?
So actually, yeah. So Corso's Crib was eventually like it was called like my old gamer tag was like Soul Hunter 10 or something. That was like my Minecraft username and or something like that. I don't know. Nonetheless, it was called Soul's Playhouse. I think the Discord was called, and it was like that for a while. And then I kept the server but kicked everybody out because I was like, I don't use this server. I don't talk to most of the people in here, so I just cleared it out and just had it empty. And then I was like, I kind of want to revamp this and use it for for Corso's Crib. So I thought it would be cool to revamp my server that I made when I first made my Discord account. Because when I made my Discord account, I made this server, and that was in 2016. So I revamped that server. But I also had my own a different server called Corso's Cavalry that was used for when I used to stream a lot on Twitch.
Cool.
So I still have that, but it's not used at all.
So you're not a huge Gary Maxey, and did you have any idea like what NFT was? Like, was that on your radar before?
So yes,
Okay.
timing wise as well, it was just like perfect. So I'll try to make this quick, but it's an interesting story. I follow this guy named Chris Conley on Instagram because he was a Chiefs player, the NFL team. He was on the Chiefs. He was a rookie, and then a couple years he was on the Chiefs before he got traded or he got signed by the Jaguars. And so I followed him on Instagram, and he posted an Instagram story, ironically, right? Going back to Instagram stories, I never really looked at them. He posted an Instagram story that he was live on like Mixer, when Mixer was like a little thing at the time. And so I joined and I just kept watching him on there, and then I convinced him to go over to Twitch. I made his Discord server, became friends with him, and I'm like a Twitch mod from like there's no really like moderation that's needed, but like I help him with that kind of stuff if it's needed. And with him, I think a year after, so maybe a year and a half, he was on this podcast called Club Top Shot, where they talked about Top Shot, the NBA moments type thing. So he was on there, and they told him about that. So I got a profile, an account on there. Mm-hmm. It was March in 2021, and maybe February. I think it was March. And then they also talked about CryptoPunks. And I thought CryptoPunks looked pretty cool because I've always liked pixel art. And I think at the time they were like $30,000, which is a lot of money, but it's cheaper than it is today. And so that's where I learned about what NFTs were, and that's where I got my first NFTs, which were Top Shot, which I consider NFTs, but at the same time, it's like, it's not in, I think maybe now it is, but back then it was just in your profile. So like, it didn't really feel any different than, anything else. But so that's where I learned about NFTs from that.
Gotcha. So you were in that Top Shot bucket. There's,
when it was good. When you'd make money on every single pack, but I didn't sell anything. So
that was my next question. Were you in the arbitrage business? So, but you're a hodler.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Cool. So you, I did some research on your Twitter. So did you end up reaching out to Zane for a job? You were hanging out, and then you reached out to him, and he said, "Come and help us. Come be a mod."
Yeah, in the general chat, he posted something, or I think I saw someone talking about people becoming a mod, and they said, yeah, Zane posted about it X amount of time ago. So I went and messaged Zane right then and there. I said, hey, I've been on Discord since 2016. I have experience in Discord. I'd love to become a moderator. He said, can you meet in 40 minutes or something like that? I was like, yeah. So we hopped on a call, and it was early for me because 11 a.m. was early for me then. Now I wake up at like 7. Or maybe I think it was 10. One of those two times. Nonetheless, we met up very shortly after that. I went over, like I just told him everything about me, what my experience is, and I became a mod like right then and there. There wasn't like the biggest vetting process, but it's kind of just like with Gary's morals, and maybe not morals is the right word, but it's just like more of that trust. He felt the trust.
Sure.
And so that's how I became a mod. It was like just really quick. I messaged him, hopped on a call, 40 minutes later, became a mod, 30 minutes, like the call was like 30 minutes. And then right after that, I became a mod just like that.
That's amazing. That really is
Yeah, it's all because I just messaged him. If I didn't message him, it wouldn't have happened.
So I know a lot of people may know that name because, he created Chippy's World, but, for the people that weren't there and in it to that degree, in May of 2021, what role was he in the VeeFriends world then?
He was like a little bit. Go ahead. What were you gonna say? The last
No,
part.
just what was his role as, at VeeFriends in those, very, very, very early days?
Yeah. So I'm sure he did more than what I'm about to say because he did a lot behind the scenes. But he managed the whole Discord server. He I think he did pretty much everything with socials. I'm not sure if May helped with that. I'm not sure what May did early on. I know what Zane did, but he did like socials as well, to my knowledge. And then he did, I think he did like, yeah, he like managed. I think he was like a community manager too. So he did like a little bit of everything. Like he kind of filled like the three different roles, and he did all of that. Like he was working hard.
I from what I hear, he was like the guy.
Yeah.
Cool. So, you're in that early, that first class of mods, and I think Kashfi is there. Who are some other names that we might know from way back when?
So there was a few people who were before me. I believe it was Burge, Fury, Jody, and there was a guy named Deformance who was Jody's friend. Those were like, I think, the first mods. There might be one or two more I'm missing. When I became a mod, I think it was either before or after Post Verone, who's legend on Twitter. He became a mod either right before me or right after me, so we became a mod at the same time. I think Cashby was either the day before, the day after, or later that day. And then other mods at that around that time was like David Bridgman, who's still a mod now, Wealthy Frog, who's still a mod now. So there's a lot. I'm definitely missing one or two, but there's most of the mods that were mods back then are still mods now.
And that says a lot. That says a lot about the ecosystem. Talk to me about. I know a huge pillar of the community, especially in the early days of those clubhouse conversations. Talk to me about like what you remember from those days. How it started, how you kind of wandered in there, and what that meant to the early days of VeeFriends launching.
Yeah, I think it was like one of like the best things for how the community was built and like how early the community interacted with each other and like really built relationships before the mint, and then even during the mint and after the mint, and still now. I don't know how active the clubhouse is compared to it back then, but it was definitely more active then, because that was like the Twitter Spaces, so that was like the hangout spot, and all the relationships. Like I'm still friends with most of the people that I met from there. Like that's where like a lot of the mods hung out there as well, because it was like we helped them like helped answer questions, and then we also were just part of the community. And so like, yeah, we were moderators, but we were community members as well. And so I think like if we didn't have Clubhouse wasn't a thing, like the community would be very different without it. That's how important it was.
Yeah, I mean, I knew of Gary, knew this was happening, but I wasn't in it as much as I am now. And, I hear amazing things about those days, and, between relationships and alpha, I know a lot of people got into Bored Apes from those conversations, especially in that time where
I was
VeeFriends was supposed to launch. And let's go into that, because I know on May 30th, 2022, you tweeted, who would have thought buying a Bored Ape BYAC 1 year ago for 0.8 ETH would have the impact it did on me, forever blessed. So let's just take a quick sidebar of how you got into that.
Yeah. So Brian, who's City Apes on Twitter, he joined the clubhouse. He wasn't in the clubhouse when we were hanging out. He joined and he was like, "Hey guys, just bought this Bored Ape. It's golden for 5 ETH. Like it's really cool. The vibes are, something like that, something along those lines." And he was like, "It's pretty cool. You guys should check it out." And we checked it out, and we were just like, "All right, let's buy it." So like 6, maybe 7 people went who had the ETH and bought a Bored Ape. I was fortunate enough to have like I remember Titch was one of them. I should remember the other two people's names. There's two other people who let me ETH so I could buy the one I wanted. I think I had like 0.5 ETH, so the floor was like 0.3, so I could have bought a floor one, but I wanted to get one that meant more, and so I spent 0.8 ETH to buy that, and then like Post bought one. I think Billy bought one, so a bunch of people bought a Bored Ape just because Brian came in and said, "Hey guys, I just bought this thing called a Bored Ape," and we were like, "All right, let's do it." It's just like full degen. We're like, Brian bought it, let's buy it, and that's just how it was. And like there was other projects that were talked about in there, like Gutter Cat Gang early on, went right before Mint. Bricks, I think his name is Duffel Bricks on Twitter. He was like, "Hey guys, I'm minting this," or no, Bricks wasn't. Bricks was against it. There was another user. His name is Two Tone Tommy, I think now on Twitter, and he was like, "Guys, like this project's pretty cool." He minted 20 of them. He did the right thing. Other people thought it was like a rug pull, and it was just cool. And I think that was like in June, so it was like a month after, and like that's just how it was in there.
Those are the vibes. So that was May 30th, 2021. On May 3rd, you joined the team officially. Mm-hmm. But May was a heater. Let's talk about what happened in the middle of the month. So according to your Twitter, on May 24th, well, maybe this happened before, someone gifted you a legendary lemur, a VF1. Yep. And then on May 24th, you get a gift from Gary. Can you talk about either one of those or both of those experiences?
Yeah, I'll talk about both. So the legendary lemur, let me actually pull up the exact date, because I think it was a little bit before. I can't find this. Oh, here it is. So a user by the name of Alex, his Discord was Alex STRZ. So he was messaging me. I was helping him with, I think he helped him with minting or something. And I was just very active in the general chat, helping people mint, helping people like answering questions, all that. And he asked me, let me find the first message. He said something about, here's when he bought it. He said, sorry, I'm trying to see where.
No, this is super cool. This is why I do this show.
Yeah. So I messaged him because I think he said something in the general chat saying like, "Hey, what VeeFriend did you mint?" And I said, "I don't have the money to mint one." And he was like, "Let's change that," or something like that. And then he DM'd me. So it looks like we chatted at first in general chat, because my first message to him was just want to say, appreciate your kindness in this community. You have a way. See, this doesn't even make sense. I said, you have a way that one token to someone. So I think maybe I meant to say you gave away a token to someone and you're giving away more. Like I was like, I would always message people like, "Hey, like you're awesome." Mm-hmm. And then he basically said like, "Do you have one?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "I don't." And he basically just said, I'm buying you one. And so he bought me a legendary lemur. He minted it at 0.784 ETH. So he minted that for me. I just missed the date. That's why I went back for. It was on the 16th. Yeah, it was on 5/16. So May 16th.
5/16.
4 days after the mint started, I think, right?
Yeah.
And so it's pretty much at floor. Not quite, but so that happened. That was just like life changing, because, I think it was like, it's one thing to moderate, but to own a token just makes you feel more included, at least at that time. Now, I hope everybody feels included regardless. But at the time, it felt more.
Sure.
It
was that stamp. It was the official token of entering the community. So then, Gary's doing, I don't know how many he did off the top of my head, but I remember
lots
being in Discord where it was just bananas. I mean, and people that are listening probably know how bananas the Discord gets when Gary's doing giveaway. But, this is kind of the early days of that. So talk to us what happened on the 24th.
Yeah. So the day before, just for context, he was doing a day of giveaways. And I think like maybe 2 or 3 days before that, maybe 4, he did like the first 5 or 6 giveaways. So he was already doing Series 1 Goo giveaways. It's Goo, not Go. But he was doing giveaways. So on the 23rd, I think like 1 or 2 mods won. Cashby was one, and then I believe there was one other mod who won that day. I think maybe, yeah, I don't remember who. Regardless, some mods won, and then the next day, like, and so for context, all the mods we were all moderating, and we were all in the mod chat, in the voice chat. So we had like 15 people in the voice chat, just moderating, having a good time, because it was a cool thing to witness and be behind, because we were moderating it. And the next day comes, and for just for knowledge, or I'm not thinking of the right word, but none of us had expectations to win anything. We were moderating to moderate. Like, it was genuinely a fun thing to do. Like, for me, it's awesome to be able to help people. And in that case, like, I was able to help a lot of people, and a lot of the other moderators were helping people as well. And so it was a cool thing to be a part of. And so the whole team, we were just hanging out in the mod chat, helping people mint, answering questions. And then during the giveaways, it was chaos. So we were moderating as much as we could. And then I see a message in the, I forget how they got my wallet address, but they got everybody's wallet address before, I think. It was weird. I think I got a message from like Zane or something. It's like, hey, what's your wallet address? And it was like way before the giveaway started. So that kind of gave it away. But at the same time, I was like, maybe he's just collecting the mods' wallet addresses for, if they need it.
With all the craziness, you probably forgot about it too, if it was before.
Oh, 100%, because it surprised me. I was like, what the fuck? So what happened was we were just chilling in the mod chat, and we would always, like, we would be sitting in general chat, and then we have a few people sitting in announcements to see when Gary was typing again, so we could see when the chaos happens again. And we're like, all right, Gary V's typing. And then the message was like, here's a big one, or this is a big one. Congrats, Corso, or something like that. It was like something along those lines, and everybody just went crazy. And it was just such a crazy night. I think the giveaways ended like later at night, and my brother and sister were up, and they were just sitting out back. It was a nice night. It was nice, like, probably like in the 60s, 70s. And I was just telling them, like, you guys won't believe what just happened. Like, I just won this thing. Like, people are buying it for this amount, and it's from Gary, and it's like, I was on cloud 9. It was like the wildest thing that could have happened.
I can't even imagine to get that token from him.
Even any token, and I got that token, right? So
I mean, yes.
It's absolutely insane.
So, I mean, we don't need to talk about what the gift goat means, but I mean, did you understand the magnitude of it at the time? I know that seems like a stupid question, but did you? I know Gary at the early days, he was talking about the cool, access utility of the VeeFriends before like we said before, he was even calling it VeeFriends. He was like, what if a car just shows up in your driveway one day? Like, did you understand maybe the exclusive group that it would be, or what the gifts would mean?
I did, to an extent, because nobody really knew what the gifts would be. But like, since I was helping people mint, I knew what the gift code token was, and I think at that time there was still some on the floor at 5 ETH. And so I was like, there's 2 things that I knew is like, there's going to be 18 gifts over the course of 3 years. And then the second thing was they were selling at 5 ETH. So I was like, 5 ETH, that was like 20 grand, something like that at the time. So those are the 2 things I knew. And, money is not the important part about it, but the fact that I was gifted something that was worth that much was just insane. I was like, what is going on? Like, this can't be real. And the next like couple weeks, nobody had a ledger then. Nobody just there weren't enough scammers, I guess. But like, I would check my wallet every morning to see if it actually happened. Like, first thing I do when I woke up, open MetaMask, still there. Cool.
I could go on with my day.
Now I can wake up. Yeah. Like, that's literally what I did for like the first 2 weeks after winning it.
Why do you think Gary gave it to you?
I thought about it because it's very random, but I think it was probably just due to the work ethic. And it's not me tooting my own horn. I'm not trying to, at least, but I was in there every day, all day for weeks. And the main reason was because I was on my computer all day anyways. So like, and then I was just able to like, what I would do for some of it was I would have a game, I'd be playing like Minecraft or something on one monitor. And then on this monitor, I'd have the Discord open. And if I see anybody asking questions, I'd pop over, answer the question, go back to playing Minecraft or whatever game I was playing that I didn't need to be 100% focused. So I did that for a while. And I was just very active. Like, I don't know. I think that would be why. But I was just very adamant about being as active as possible, helping people out. And now we're here. And I think that kind of goes to why I'm here.
Of course. And you're a household name in the community and on the team, and you're very much appreciated. Let's talk, we started at the beginning. Let's kind of go through, if it's okay with you, just kind of like how your role has evolved. So you started as an unpaid mod, and then, within the team, let's talk about your stepping stones.
Sure. Yeah. So
how you got to be community success lead.
Yeah. So I started as a volunteer mod, like we mentioned before. And I think it was before August, or maybe it was like beginning of August, I was starting to somewhat transition into possibly a head moderator. And this was before Zane left. And once Zane left, the role changed to Discord manager. And they're like, all right, we got to onboard him. So I was onboarded. I think I was maybe like the 7th or 8th employee at VeeFriends, which was pretty cool. I was like, that's a very cool. That's less than 10. That's pretty cool. And so I became the Discord manager, I think August 15th, something like that. I think I remember that date. I do remember dates somewhat good. So I think it was like August 15th. I became the Discord manager. And my first week, I was in Florida. I was on vacation, but like not really. I forget why I was in Florida. Like what I was doing in Florida is like somewhat of a vacation, but so I did all my onboarding while I was in Florida. And so that's kind of where when I started, and I was making the mod handbook that we have. I made like Zane made like a mod schedule, and so I just kind of didn't really change anything, but we edited some people's times. Like, so that's kind of what I did when I first started, is all of that. And yeah, I think the mod handbook was like my first big thing, because it was like a couple pages long, like very in depth of like a lot of stuff, and just like what it means to be a moderator, all that, just to have that kind of guideline for when we hire new mods. And over time, like I started doing, we always had the Discord tickets, but I would kind of always be living in the Discord support tickets, because that was like the main thing that was really important, was to get to these people as fast as possible with their answer to the question. And yeah, so I was that for a bit. I had a call with Andy once, and we were talking about possibly going full time and picking up more roles. And I was like that's something I want to do. I want to finish this semester of school first. And so right after school ended, like literally I had to take my finals early, because VCon was the week I would come back from VCon was when my finals were. I came back like Wednesday. My finals were Monday, Tuesday, and the Friday before. And VCon was
busy. Yeah.
I was
busy
in Minneapolis, so I had to take my finals early. So I went to VCon, and then we went to NFT NYC, and then wasn't necessarily an interview, but it was more of like a, hey, like this is the role we're thinking. It was community success lead, and that was in June, I think, this year, like right after NFT NYC. And so that is when I became the community success lead. And so basically what I picked up was managing all customer support through our Discord and through emails. And that includes like making like pre-written responses for certain scenarios, and this kind of like the guardrails is what we call it for that. This way, like everything's organized, everything's neat, and yeah. So that's what I do now. And then, yeah, I think, what else am I missing? I do all things POP now. So as you've been seeing, and anybody else watching this, there's been a lot more VeeFriends POPs lately. So I've been focusing a lot of time on that, but still Discord as well.
Well, I mean, first, congratulations, because that's awesome. Because it's
Thank you.
like you said, to going back to the goat thing, it's a lot what you're doing and not what you're saying. So, you definitely earned your stripes, and you're in a unique position because you're in the clubhouse, you're in the community. It's not like you're kind of watching from your office or from your computer and not being a part of the community. Like you have this kind of foot in both camps where you're a trusted member of the community, everyone loves you, but you're also a full-time member of the VeeFriends team.
Yeah.
Is this something that's ever a challenge for you?
I wouldn't say so. Because I've kind of learned, okay, I can't say this, I can't say that. But besides that, like when I'm ever interacting with the community, I try to interact with them as a community member rather than as an employee of VeeFriends. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a huge fan of VeeFriends, regardless if I work for them. And so I take it like that. Like I'm just a fan of VeeFriends. I love what the company is doing. And like I'm excited for the future. And so that's the way I take it when I'm interacting with the community a lot of times. Of course, if they ask questions like, hey, like, is there an update on this? Like if I have the answer and I'm allowed to share it, like I'll share it. And that's the cool part. Like I'm able to, it's not necessarily alpha because it's not, but it's just more of being able to help the community and being part of the community still too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know, people in spaces have seen you, like, like I said, you're always, not always, but you're often in spaces,
Yeah, I try to join them all.
Yeah, listening to have a pulse, for yourself and for your job. And I know people say, like, I bet Corso's in there listening and hopefully taking things back to the team. And then I'm like thinking, well, I don't know, is he? Like, obviously you're getting that information, but like, it must be interesting to see how you're wearing your hats and, when you're in there as, for work and when you're clocking out, just kind of enjoying it as a gift go or as just a V1 holder or as like, someone that likes to play, compete and collect and listen to, GMV friends.
Yeah.
So I always think about that often about, your perspective of that, of being in the community.
Regardless, like whenever I hear feedback, like I'm always thinking of, okay, is this something that we've already thought of on the back end? If it isn't, and I think it's important to share, I'm going to share it. If it's not, if it's something that we've already discussed, it's already been discussed. And then if it's, something that they're bringing up that's new, I kind of like, it's almost like how I sift through the Discord to see what information is being shared that is important to the company, or I don't want to keep saying company, but to VeeFriends, that we could like, that's beneficial to help the community grow or, fix a problem that's happening, something like that. And so those kind of things I sift through to bring to the team so the team's aware. And sometimes the team will be like, already on our radar, thank you. Or if it's not, it's like, thank you, on our radar. And then like, even I could be in the process, like in the, I could be part of the team that addresses it, like something like that. So like, even if I'm in there just to be in there just for fun, like if there's feedback that's said that I think is important, like I'll 100% share it. But if it's just like some silly thing, like, oh, like why is this character not having any, like, why does this character not have utility? It's like, I'm not going to bring that to the team and ask them why that, because it's just not, but like I try to bring as much stuff back as possible, regardless if I'm there to listen in for work related things or not. Like it's always something in my mind when I'm joining those spaces. Definitely.
And, and sometimes you can't win, especially when, I talked to Andy about this. I'm like, the access for where you are is so different than a typical person, president, whatever, CEO that's running a company, because people are really engaged and they have this forum, whether it be Discord or Twitter, where they're always throwing out ideas and there's always going to be someone that's not happy. I mean, I feel like, and I'll ask you this, like, I feel like the general consensus of people are happy with VeeFriends, but, like take like the merch, for instance, like, the Kind Kudu sweatshirt comes out and people, a Selfless Sloth holder's like, well, when is Selfless Sloth going to get some merch? Like, when are they going to be at play? Now the merch comes out and like some people are, disgruntled with the price. Like, so you just can't win all the time when you're trying to build something for the masses like this. So, I, as a community success lead, well, let me position it this way. We're going into a new year with new goals and things. So what's one thing that you feel like is really strong or successful from the VeeFriends community standpoint? And what's one thing that you think is kind of on the top of the radar to build and make stronger going into 2023?
I'll start with the thing that we can work on to build stronger. I think the Discord isn't as interactive as it used to be. It doesn't have, like, we have announcements in there. Gary drops alpha from time to time, but it's not like a place where a lot of people hang out as much anymore. And so my goal, I mean, it's already started now, so it'll go into next year, but my goal is to make it that place where people want to hang out, or if they're in there for an hour, it's productive. It's not, just like a waste of an hour. I don't want to say a waste, but like, I want to make a reason for people to want to be in the Discord rather than just to chat with the same two people, because anybody can chat with two people anywhere. It doesn't have to be in a specific Discord. And so that's like my big goal. Something I think that VeeFriends has been succeeding with is, kind of just every, events we've done, I think, a pretty good job with. And then I think just the IP development has been pretty good for how newer VeeFriends is compared to, like, I don't want to compare it to really anything. It's unique.
Sure.
But within a year and a half, like, we've done quite a bit of stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff on our track record for, like, what we've accomplished so far. And so I think we've been pretty successful with the collaborations we've gotten and succeeded with. And so that's something I'm just excited to just see what else comes, because, like, Macy's was freaking crazy. Like, I even imagined that happening, and I got told one day, he's like, hey, like, we're going to be doing customer support on this thing. We're doing a Macy's drop, and we're having these toys and not toys, they're collectibles, I think whatever. And plushies and these blind boxes. I was like, this is really cool. Like, this is huge for VeeFriends because it's in stores.
Sure.
And people still haven't really understood the magnitude of that. Like, it's like any kid in the USA who goes to Macy's and they go to the Toys R Us section can see the Gratitude Gorilla sitting on the shelf. Or they could see the genuine giraffe. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's something that I think was, like, very successful, is like getting into a store as a brand. As a brand that started as an NFT, because a lot of brands are still, like, against NFTs. And so the fact that we got into a store across the whole US is crazy. It would be cooler if we were worldwide in every store, but, it's stepping stones and it's still huge.
Exactly. Stepping stones. And, that drop and what came from it for me, like, is one of those moments it clicked, like, oh, like, this is what Gary's building, because, the songs are great. The videos are cool. But, in my world, my son, he won't go to bed if the Practical Peacock isn't in his bed with him. Like, I have to go get it.
That's cool.
And then he's singing the song too.
That's what it's all about.
And I'm like, oh, like, this is going to be a thing for everyone. Like,
yeah.
Like, he's got Mickey Mouse in there and he's got Practical Peacock. Like, it's happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah, amazing. That must have been really exciting internally. So last thing with the kind of community success, there's things are going to come up all the time. Is there, and I know you said you built out the mod handbook and community customer service protocols. Is there an infrastructure being built around the radar to kind of streamline situations to help better bridge the community and the team as far as ideas, concerns, partnership opportunities?
Yeah, as of now, we still have, like, if someone wants to collaborate with the community or with VeeFriends on X, Y, or Z, they have something, they have their own apparel brand, something like that. Like, we always direct them to, hey, reach out to us, email, and, if what they share is interesting, like, we will set up a call with them, that kind of thing. I'm usually not involved with that too much, but I do see the email intake when it comes to that. That's not something I would respond to. It's more of like a different team member gets to that. where like for feedback and stuff, we have a feedback form in the Discord. It's very underused. And so the way I get feedback and share it with the team is I'll sit on Twitter, just scroll, check VeeFriends stuff. And I'll sit in spaces because there's always great feedback that's shared in the spaces, whether people know it's feedback or not. Just the way they think of like this or that is important for future because, you know, if someone was upset at this part of it, maybe we can fix it for the next. And kind of, because like you said, it's impossible to make everybody happy, but, you know, like when it comes to any drop, but we want to, you know, make it more positive than negative when it comes to any drop. And so it's streamlined in a sense where me or other, like maybe Tyler, for example, because Tyler does social. So like if he sees stuff on Twitter, like we flag it to the same spot and the team addresses it internally if needed, or how we can respond to something like that methodically, just because, you know, certain things you can only say so much. And
Sure.
And so it's streamlined in that sense where, you know, since like I mentioned before, where I kind of think of myself as not just an employee, but a community member, that's kind of where I streamline it as like a community member where like, cause I understand what a lot of people are saying because I was a community member or just a volunteer mod for a bit. And I know, and I have personal relationships with a lot of community members. And so I understand a lot of the concerns some may have about certain things or, you know, just like the thoughts they have about, you know, the merch or this. So I'm very understanding when it comes to those things. And I think, did I answer your question? I think
like you're able to contextualize it better.
Yeah.
Like I feel like taking forward, and you know, a lot of people, and you know, sometimes the bad apples ruin it for everyone. But you know, some people just kind of don't go about giving criticism or feedback the best way, and sometimes they're valid points. But you know, if you kind of package it up a little bit better or deliver to the right person, I think it can make more change for the better in the long run. So.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we're just starting this. Like I'm sure you're going to be building out like a community team. Yeah, I know you guys are hiring.
We have a community team, but like VeeFriends seems to always be hiring, not just community, but you know, yeah. So it's definitely something like our main like at least like the whole department. The whole community department, like we're focused on the community 1,000%. Like we don't want any community member to feel out of place or, you know, we want the community to feel as awesome as they are. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Obviously so much to cover, so much to happen. I want to do a quick little segment here called Remember When. So I'm going to say an event or something that happened and just give me a quick 30, 60 seconds on, you know, what you remember from that time. Were you surprised? Like maybe there's a cool story because you were with someone when you first found out about the thing. 12 and a half book drop when Gary did his long, you know, August 2021, you know, campaign to sell that.
Yeah. So I was in Florida at my uncle's house and I was watching it. I think I didn't take off of work then. And I think this was like only like a month after I became the Discord manager. So I was with my dad at the time and I was watching it. I was like, Dad, like if you buy 12 books, you'll get this NFT. And so I got him to buy 12 books. I bought 24. And yeah, it was such a interesting thing. I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, this is cool. I'm going to buy a book for the first time in years. Like the only book I've bought since I Ever Wimpy Kid was textbooks for school. So like I hadn't actually bought a book in so long because it's just not my thing. And so I was like, I can't believe I'm going to buy a book, but not just one, 20 fucking 4 books.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
You know, it was very interesting. I questioned myself, and you know, I think it was a really cool thing, and what's to come is really cool as well. So, that was an interesting day for sure.
And did you have, where you are, I don't know if it was a different department, did you know what Book Games was? Did you know it was coming prior to January?
To my remembrance, no. Like I knew that there was a live stream for his book and that there was something coming with that, but that's really all I knew at the time of it. And then of course I learned before everything happened, like when the book games were airdropped or claimable.
Um, I know you were a big part of this, but the first time you heard about the Road to Series 2, the education sessions,
I think I
where,
was. Go ahead.
just to further push the question, where did that originate? I heard it was Gary, but as far as going from idea to you and May and Tyler and whoever have to actually produce it, I'm curious to how that came about.
Yeah, so Road to Series 2, like you said, I think like I'm 99% sure Gary's like, hey, we want to do this. The main purpose of it was to try to educate people who maybe aren't familiar with NFTs, or I mean that's really what it was, and to teach people about what VeeFriends is and what NFTs are and how you can get started and get ready to mint. And I don't remember working on the PowerPoints too much. It was more of me presenting them. I can't recall who did it. It was probably someone like May, because May does everything. Daniel was probably involved too. But yeah, I was brought into a meeting like, hey, we're gonna do this thing where we're doing these Zoom things. It's like crap, But it was very fun. Of course there was trolls that joined and did disturbing things, but that's what happens when you have Gary Vee post a Zoom link, or anyone who's popular post a Zoom link on Twitter. That's just what you get. And so that was like the only like scary part is like you don't know who's going to join, but it was very cool to see people like actually understand it and asking very thoughtful questions and learn. Like a lot of people were like happy to learn, and it was such a cool process. But like when I joined the Google Meet, I think May or someone invited me. I was just like, wow, we're gonna have to learn how to present this and present it to hundreds of people, but it was really cool.
I think in the grand, and I've said this in a couple interviews, I think in the grand timeline, especially as we get further down, that's going to get lost. But I don't think it should, because it was so important. Just the concept of we're going to really teach you, just like Gary did for V1. Like,
Yeah.
This is a MetaMask, this is a wallet. I think the education, so many people say it, but not
live
actually does it. But the live and to be interactive and to have so many offerings of it, I think was super crucial. March 7th, 2022, a Rare Robot video gets dropped. We're evolving. For the first time, everyone sees a ideation of, or an iteration of a Series 1 character going to Series 2. What was your first thoughts when you saw that?
So that was my, like when it got released to everybody, that was my first time seeing it, I think. Or no, you know what? Never mind. I saw it in a group chat before, but I didn't know much of it. And when I saw that video, I was like, holy shit, this is happening. Like everything's going to evolve. And like, this is going to, like, I was like patiently waiting to see the lemur. I didn't see that. Like Gary never posted a hint of the lemur. So we had to wait until until blog posts came out. Where I think they had like the spectacular lemur lineup. So that was cool to see. But like when I saw that, it was just like, wow, this is like actually happening. Because before it was like, it's just doodles. And now they're like actual characters that you could envision in a TV show or in this or in that. So yeah, like that video was really cool too.
I think it's one of those moments that will be remembered for a long time. And lastly, the last one I'll do is VCon Day 1. I think at least I met you when you were at the merch stand.
Yeah.
What was that chaos like from your vantage point?
We were, when the doors opened and we saw people coming down the stairs, we were like, holy shit, like we're gonna be here for a while. And we had like a schedule where we were gonna have it open until the first speech, until the opening speech. We're gonna close it until the speech was over, reopen it, and then we're gonna close it from like 11 to like 1 or noon to 2 or something like that. We didn't close once. We kept it open the whole time until 5 p.m. And like, of course, people could take breaks, but like we were not expecting that. And coming back to it, like, I don't know why we didn't. And then we also didn't have like those line guards to make sure people were in a line, and so it was just a mess. Like if I don't know why we didn't think of that. Like just none of like we just didn't cross our mind. Um, like thinking back to it is like very silly how we didn't think of that. And like once we got those line things in place, it was just like, okay, we're good now. But it
Right.
was like, yeah, crazy. We were like, wow, this is crazy.
What was the most surprising thing about VCon in your eyes?
I think the most surprising thing was like the impact we left on Minneapolis. Um, I've said this to a few people, but I was walking out of the stadium on the last day, heading back to my hotel to get changed or something. I think I was going out to a dinner later that day, and I wanted to get a picture outside the stadium. And I asked these people, like, "Hey, can you take a picture for me?" And they were like, "Yeah." And we were chatting. They're like, "Were you at the event here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I work for the team." And they're like, "We own the stadium, and you guys are like the most positive people we've ever had. Like our staff has been saying this and all that." And like that was just like a wow. Like that moment was just crazy. Because I was like that's what we're about. And like the fact that I ran into the owner of the stadium, they were the owner or something of the stadium, like one of those people, and it was just so crazy to not only like meet randomly that person, but to hear the impact we left on them and that we left on Minneapolis. So I think that was like the best part of VCon. It wasn't necessarily in the event, but it was like the overarching of VCon, what we left, the impact we left on Minneapolis.
Amazing. Yeah, that's pretty meta.
Yeah.
Real quick, last couple of questions before we head into our last segment. What does the word community mean to you, and what are three simple guidelines you think that someone could follow to create a strong community, to create and sustain a strong community?
Yeah. So a community to me is, I guess it's going to sound like a dictionary definition, but it's just like a group of people who all have the same interest in a certain thing. Because that's where a community starts. Like everybody has the same interest and they join this thing, and then they connect and form their community inside the community for specific things they like. And I think three things or three steps or three guidelines to make or rules to make a good community is like, one, you have to make, like, if you're running the community has to trust you. Like trust is very important. And I think loyalty probably goes with that. Like loyalty in a sense where like you're showing that you care about the community all the time. Like you're very, I guess loyalty is maybe not the best word, but I think the point gets across where like the community has to feel like they mean something to the, like in a public stance, because like if the community is just like ignored and the team doesn't really answer to them, like why are they there? Like it doesn't really make sense. Um, I think the second thing would be, I guess, kind of plays into that is just like listening to the community. Like that's so important. I've noticed in a lot of servers and like projects where like the community, like the team might like listen to the community in a sense, but they don't really address anything, or they don't.
Mm.
They listen and that's it. They don't. Nothing else happens. So like if a community member has this, like says, hey, like there's a problem with this, they not only address it but they fix it. Like that's a good community team. Um, yeah, and I think the third. This is hard because like I never really thought about it like this, um, but I think the third. Um, I don't know. I don't know what the third would be. I think it's just like I think the third would be.
It's okay if keep it simple.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I have a third. I think those are the two main things. If I think of something, I'll comment it on wherever this is posted. I'll comment it for the third
All
one. But
right.
it's not really something I think about because it's just like I don't know. It's kind of just like part of like the Gary V culture. I'd say is like that's just how it's always been. Like Gary's all about community, and so it's not really something like it's not specific things we focus on. That's just what it is. If that makes sense.
You sure?
So
Absolutely. What do you think is the most misunderstood thing about VeeFriends?
I think the most misunderstood thing about VeeFriends is maybe it's something I think, but a lot of the community, like, I don't think the community realizes how much we actually pay attention to everything. Like, we pay attention to everything on socials, everything in the Discord. Um, and I think one thing we can improve on when it comes to that is addressing certain things that we just don't publicly address, but we address in the back end, like, hey, like, this is fixed, or this is the solution. Like, so, like, I think that's the most misunderstood, because a lot of people think they have to tag us. Like, I've been tagged in things that I already read and already shared with the team after the fact. And so people think they have to tag us and all this. Like, we see it regardless of if we're tagged. Like, we're always, like, we care, like, we genuinely, like, care a lot about the community. And since I'm part of the community team, I'm the community success lead, like, that's my main focus. Like, I want the community just to be as awesome as possible. And that's why I mentioned earlier where I want to make the Discord more interactive, more fun. This way the community can continue to grow within there, because a lot of the community gets lost because I don't want to say lost, but there's a lot of different Twitter spaces on Twitter and people don't know which one to go to. And I think, like, the Discord is like the perfect spot where, like, you can find people in things that you're interested in very easily, with the right setup and right everything. But I think the Discord is just on my part, I've definitely underutilized it when it comes to building the community. And so, like, the community is like the heart of the project in my eyes.
Nice. Well, I'm happy you went there, because I think a lot of people, sometimes I just want to say, like, give them, like, the team some space. Like, people forget Gary just screams from the rooftop over and over again the same few things. Like, it's a 55-year project. Like, let it play out. And I'm never going to do any short-term behaviors to jeopardize the vision, right? Based on what the Discord says or the Twitter Spaces says. So I want to, thoughtfully remind people of that. But at the same time, people are free to speak their mind. But I'm definitely happy you went there. One last question before we go into the last segment. Are you still okay on time? I know.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool. What character do you think you need to spend the most time with?
Me specifically?
To get their juju, to whatever that character represents. What do you need more of in your life?
Not to get deep, but it's a character that I've always been trying to steal their trait is the happy hermit crab, because, like, a lot recently, without going to school, and nobody likes school, but without going to school, I don't have as much social interaction in person, and that's a difficult thing for anyone, because you need to talk to people, and so without that, I don't have, like, I have close friends, I guess, kind of in person, like in real life. Like, I have a friend group, but, like, when I hang out with them, it's not, like, extremely fun for me, because the activities they do, I'm not going to say what they do, but, drinking is one of them. Like, I'm not the biggest, like, person who does that. And every time we hang out, it's something that you have to do. I don't ever feel pressured to, but it's just like, I can't be myself without them. Cause, like, when I'm myself, they think I'm, like, pretending to be drunk or something. It's just like, no, that's just me, like, just being myself. Like, that's like, when I'm acting that way, I'm feeling myself. Like, I'm being myself. I don't know how else to explain it. And so I don't have, like, that kind of scenario at this time where I can always, like, just be myself. And so, like, one thing that I want to do more is, like, not only, like, experience things, but experience it with people, because the memories that you have and create with people means so much more than when it's by yourself. Because when you're doing it by yourself, it's cool, but you don't remember, like, that interaction you had with your friend where he did something stupid, or she did this, or he did, you don't have that memory where you're like, that was fucking fun. Like, I want to do it again. Cause, like, when you're doing something by yourself, cause, like, I love taking pictures of storms. I love, like, watching storms. And that's, the storms are, like, the one thing I can do by myself and always, like, enjoy it. I love just watching storms, but like things like hiking or bike rides, like I would do it so much more. I don't have the person or a friend to do it with that would do it consistently. And so it's like, for me, it's finding the balance of where I can, find things to do where it has social interaction, where it makes me happy. And so right now I have like a lot of time voids where I just have these times where I have nothing to do. Like after work, of course, like when I'm working, like working is when I typically feel the happiest. Because I have a goal to accomplish. I have, stuff to do. But outside of work, like I currently don't really have a goal that I'm chasing, or um, I don't have a task I want to do specifically, because I don't, like I mentioned before, like if there's places where I could like go hiking or go for like a good bike ride, but one, I guess I'd have to buy a new bike, but two, but two, I don't have that person, like I don't have a person to experience it with. And so that's where my struggle is right now. So I think that, to go back to, I think the happy hermit crab is like, that's something I mentioned like after VCon, sort of group, is just like, happy hermit crab is like a trait of a character that I want to steal and run with.
I love it. Well, thank you for going there. I really appreciate the transparency, and it sounds like you're already there. Like, what you want to do, and I think just keep on putting yourself in a. I think step one is do what you like to do and the things that make you happy, and then the people will come. Meetup groups would, or just by happenstance putting yourself in that position, like it'll come. So I think to not to really always bring Gary into the mix, but just not overjudging the what's happening, overjudging what you're doing or how you're thinking about it, or I should have this many friends, or I should be able to have this many people go on a ride with. But yeah, I mean, and you're still a very young man.
Yeah, to touch into it too is like, that didn't sound good.
No, yeah, that's something I'll have to tend to later.
Yeah, to touch on it more is like the reason why I went to Miami is because like I love hanging out with the community. Like that makes me happy, hanging out with the community, and so that's something that I like as well. And so I think the cost of me going, the out of pocket I paid, it wasn't really that. I thought it'd be more. It was a lot cheaper, so that was cool. But like that was like, that's something I want to do more. It's just a matter of doing it, and so that's another thing. And it's not necessarily to work events, right? Like I want to just see the community, hang out with the community, because like when I was in Miami, hung out with a lot of the V Familia, and like they're just like, everybody's just cool people to be around, and everybody has their own story, their own profession. Like everybody does different things for work. It's crazy. Like, so like that's like another thing that that I enjoy.
I couldn't agree more. I had such a good time. I actually went there for work. I was flown out, and then like the couple events, it was like my, I was still there for work, but it was like it felt like my friend time. It felt like my break, right? And I was with my friends just hanging. It was so easy, and like you said, like the conversation flows so nicely. And speaking of V Familia, my last day, I just kind of got adopted by a couple of V Familia girls. And they took me in, showed me all the, the food trucks and all the food I should be eating, culturally relevant.
I missed out on that.
And it was amazing.
Yeah, I didn't eat, like I was only there for like 2 days, and I ate lunch at my sister's house, and I ate dinner at the takeover event for the first night, and then the second night I ate at the VeeFriends event, the one where we drew stuff. Those are the only two. I only ate at two places: my sister's place, or I guess three: my sister's place, the takeover event, and the next event after. So like I didn't get to experience because there's a lot of different cultures in Miami. Which is cool. So I didn't get to experience that this time around, but yeah, I missed out.
The vibes in Miami are real, and the food's great. So, but I'm sure there'll be other occasions. And speaking of food, you put so much great stuff out into the world and on Twitter and Instagram, but there's a little FUD that you've put out that I want to address. So on February 9th, 2022, you said it's National Pizza Day. We can finally make it official that pineapple does not belong on pizza. I have to respectfully and strongly disagree. Have you tried grilled chicken and pineapple on a red pie?
No. because
Well, I need
no.
I need you
So
need to try
here's
it.
why. No, here's why. One, pineapple just doesn't really taste that good to begin with. Second, it doesn't belong on pizza. It's like anything that's like it's like a it's like a wet food going on pizza. Like I don't know, it doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be on pizza. Now,
I
if I want to be honest, I don't really care what people put on pizza because they're eating pizza. I love pizza. Comma, I'm never gonna eat pineapple on pizza because it doesn't belong there. But if people want to do it,
you would never even try it. If we were in a
I hate
situation,
pineapple. I hate pineapple. If
you
it was
wouldn't
a
even
life or
try it.
death, if it was life or death, I'd have to eat it. I would take off the pineapples if anything, and just eat the pizza. You'd have a little taste of pineapple, but
Okay.
hopefully this isn't me frauding out right now. But
No,
like, it's just
I
doesn't.
I understand your conviction. I'm going to try to. This isn't the last of this conversation. I'm going to try to put myself in a position where I present you with this. But in all seriousness, you're a New York guy. What is your favorite? What's your go-to pizza?
I'm a Delaware guy.
Oh, you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but two things. One, I mean, I always like local pizza. At least in Delaware, there's a few local pizzerias. There's a place called Grotto's all throughout Delaware. Their pizza is really cool. I think maybe some in New Jersey. Their pizza is really good. It's a very unique pizza. Like if you look it up, it has like a swirl of sauce on the top. Very, very good, unique pizza. I don't think it's hard to compare it to something like just like a regular New York style because it has that uniqueness to it. But I like I don't have I guess in my town I have like two go-to places, but like when I'm anywhere else, like there's never really like a go-to place. Like I've never really had bad pizza, and I guess that means I haven't been to the worst spots. But at the same time, it's just like if I see there's people at a pizzeria, there's a lot of people, I'm like, it's probably good. And then I also will sometimes look on like two places I look. There's a pizzeria app called Slice. I'll look on there just to see what the reviews are, and then I'll also check Dave Portnoy's app just to see what he rated the pizza if he went there. Because that's what happened when I was in New York for NFTYC. Me and Tyler went to a pizzeria because Dave Portnoy rated it like an 8.4. I was like, that's a pretty good rating. So we went there.
Okay.
The pizza was small, but it was good. But like in New York, like I'll eat anywhere. Anywhere that looks like you should eat there.
Right. And it's hard to mess up too. It's hard to really put out a bad pizza product.
If you put out a bad pizza product, it's not the main thing you cook. That's the way I look at it. Like if it's a pizzeria, like it's usually not bad. But if it's like just an Italian restaurant and they happen to have pizza, sometimes the pizza's not the best. Because that's not what their focus is. Their focus is on the Italian culture of pasta and this and that. So that's the way I look at it.
My last little jab I'll throw in here on the pineapple pizza front. Speaking of Dave Portnoy, he coined New Haven, Connecticut as the pizza capital of the world, which I grew up in. I grew up with the best pizza, I think, in the world. And I still think pineapple belongs on pizza. So I'll leave it at that.
I've been to Rhode Island, but I don't think I had pizza when I was there. But I've never had pizza from Connecticut. But he's also just using like a hometown bias. Not necessarily his town, but he's from Northeast or New England area. So
I think he's a Boston area guy.
Yeah. So it's kind of hometown.
If you have a chance to get into New Haven to Worcester Street, it's called, definitely jump in there. All right. So real quick, I can't thank you enough for this. I want to do the last segment. It's called Micro Macro Spitfire. For people on the team, I've been saying, we say NFA, not financial advice, but for people on the team, I'm saying this is NVFA, not VeeFriends advice. So you can answer it, as a member of the community, not official opinions here. So micro macro, you can answer really quick macro answer, or you can really get the microscope out and get into why you're answering what you're saying. Someone that needs to be followed if they're just getting into VeeFriends for the first time is
Jeremy.
Favorite teacher you've had and one reason why?
Favorite teacher I've had. I think one of my Spanish teachers, her name was Senora Linares. She was a great teacher because she was fun with. I think she's my favorite. Can I say two? I'll be quick with
Sure.
it. So she was good because like she genuinely cared about like helping people learn if they cared. She would really help you out like if you needed help with learning X, Y, or Z, or you missed something. Like she just very attentive to that. My other favorite teacher was my AP Calc teacher, Mr. Halsis. He was great because like I took AP Calc like my junior year. Everybody takes it senior year, so I was like crazy. I don't know why I did it. But like he was like just such a like his teaching was really good. Like he just taught really well. He was a nice guy. He was a Patriots fan, so it was like but it was good banter because I'm a Chiefs fan. So it was great banter in class. Like, we would have somewhat of that like personal relationship when it came to sports. The love-hate relationship, of course, because he's a Patriots fan, but he was just such a good teacher, like a really good and caring teacher. So those are my two favorites.
I love that. Secret talent that you have that most people don't know.
Talent. I have many of those. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really good at Rocket League.
Okay, cool.
I used to play soccer for 15 years, so I'm somewhat talented at soccer.
Oh, there we go. There's some alpha.
Soccer, not football.
The time machine, the time machine tiny ogre can be traded for what?
Oh, anything.
If there was something happened where you had to delete all of the social media apps you have, but you could only keep one, which one would you keep?
Hate to say it, but I'd probably say Instagram. Just because. No, I think I'd say Twitter. No, I don't know. That's a hard one. I'd say Twitter because that's where my biggest following is, and that's where I guess I would have the biggest pull, or just like I guess the biggest family, I guess you could say. And since Twitter has Twitter Spaces, and you can make communities in Twitter too, so I think that would be it. Does Discord included in that? Because if it is, it's just Discord. I don't know if it's really like a social platform.
Oh, I don't know. No one's ever said Discord, and I'm not a huge fan of Discord. So
I've used it for games all the time, and so I would have
Gotcha.
to use it for if I was still playing games. So if Discord's included, I'd probably say Discord, but it's kind of like a loser answer.
Respect. You'd be the first person to ever say that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that for historical value.
Let's do it.
Favorite 90s movie?
I don't think I've watched a 90s movie. Like a 2000 like something movie, like an early 2000 movie, Benchwarmers.
Oh, nice. Bougie hotel or hiking and camping?
Hiking and camping. Although I've never camped.
Paper Hands Pony or the koala?
Koala.
In 10 years, do I want to be holding an iconic or a VCon 1 ticket?
It's a hard one. I think it's like a coin flip for me because the ticket is cool to have. It's history. The iconic is also history, and it looks cooler. So I'll flip a coin real quick. Landed on tails, so we'll go with the Series 1 ticket.
Oh, amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the first coin flip in VeeFam Sessions history.
I'm a coin flip guy.
Thank you for being here for it. Gratitude Gorilla or Patient Pig?
I like Gratitude Gorilla.
I know everyone says May. May's a superhero. You mentioned her. Is there anyone on the team, and I know everyone praises anyone, but is there anyone that doesn't get as much airplay that you would give roses to?
Someone who's not like more as public facing, or are they just
Correct.
Not public facing. That's a hard one because there's a lot of great people. I would say his name is Manny. He's one of our animators. He's just like he always brings like funny jokes, or like he's always just bringing positive vibes to everything. I don't meet with him as much, but like at VCon I hung out with him a lot when I could, and like he's just such an amazing person and very talented. So I'd say him.
Amazing. Flip life, yes or no for you?
I'm trying to get into it with cards, so let's say yes.
Would you rather have a 2-hour group access dinner with Gary, so you and maybe 9 other people for 2 hours, or a 10-minute one-on-one?
That's a hard one too, because It would depend who the people are, because if they're just a bunch of amazing people, which it probably would be. I don't know, 2 hours? Yeah, I'd probably do 2 hours, because I think everybody could have their own 10 minutes with Gary if they really needed to. So you get the 2-in-1. You get to be with him for 2 hours, and you maybe get 10 minutes with him while everybody's there.
The hashtag blame Corso. When did that start and how?
Post Verone, something went wrong with the Discord, and Post was just like, hashtag blame Corso.
If you could ask Gary one question, what would it be?
One question, what would it be? When lemur merch? No. One genuine question would probably just be like, how do you go day to day and find new ways to be happy?
Amazing. I'm gonna throw one more your way, but before I do that, I just want to thank you so much. Like, obviously you're a fixture in the community. No one has an unkind word to say about you. You've helped so many people, and it is a real privilege to get to actually hang out with you in real life. And I hope that's the first of many. And I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
One quick, I'm going to shoot my shot here with a pitch. So, real quick, I heard on an interview that Caleb Ralston did. He dropped some alpha that Gary is just so busy all the time. The best way to ask Gary something is when he's going to and from the bathroom. So I had an idea for a weekly show where people in the VeeFriends community can go to Vayner, wait in the corner, and when Gary goes to the bathroom, they shoot their shot, their pitch. I have so much conviction in this idea. I know it's going to kill. I can't think of a name. Do you have a name for the show?
You trying to steal my idea? Pete with Gary V. I don't have the drawing, otherwise I would show it. Because I had to leave it at my sister's because I didn't have a folder and she didn't have a folder. So I didn't want to put it in my backpack and it get wrinkled up. So I left it at my sister's. I'm going to her place this Thursday. So I got pictures.
I'll send it to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I got pictures of it.
I did send a picture to you. No, I had to get that in there because I think about it all the time and it makes me smile.
It would be such a real show. It would be such a funny show.
It would be amazing.
It would be like a quick TikTok or Instagram reel.
I mean, going back to not wasting any second, it's just gold. So, no, I am not in the business of stealing ideas. That is all yours. I had to find a way to get it on this show. So now it's documented.
If anybody hasn't seen it, we'll post it somewhere. It's
I will clip it to this. But you're the best. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll talk soon, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Peace.